I would like to do a little comparison here of the coronavirus and the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. And this is according to the CDC. In 1918, it says it is estimated that about 500 million people, or 1/3 of the world's population, became infected with this virus. The number of deaths was estimated to be at least 50 million worldwide, with about 675,000 happening in the United States. The 50 million worldwide would be, let's see, it's 1/3 of the world's population was infected, and 50 million worldwide died. And I don't know how many years, started in 1918, but how many years that includes. I'm curious as to how many died after the first year. But as of December of 2020, so the virus has been around for about a year now, maybe a little, 78 million have had cases or positive cases. And there's 7.8 billion people. That's 1% of the world's population, if my calculation is correct. 78 million out of 7.8 billion. So I think that's 1%. Correct me if I'm wrong. And 1.7 million deaths compared to 50 million deaths. And so again, I don't know how long, I'm curious as to what the stats were in 1918 after 1 year. So like in 1919, or after 12 months of it, compared to this, but we're not even close to 50 million. I'm not sure that these shutdowns, I would think that if you let things open with, in Texas where I live, things are open with social distancing and masks. And there's debate on whether that's necessary. I have friends that refuse to wear them. There's arguments that they don't do any good, and different people disagree. My view is I try to obey the laws at hand as long as it doesn't affect me to be a Christian, to do God's will. But if I go to a building that requires me to wear a mask, I'll wear a mask. If I go to a building that doesn't require it, I won't wear it. But I haven't been sick since February. But I really, really believe, and I believed this back in February and March, that this is more about control than it is about a pandemic. I'm not saying the pandemic doesn't exist. I'm not saying it's fake. I'm just saying that's based on the CDC numbers, and so the shutdown to me, okay, even this may sound cruel, but let's say it saves a few lives. It also ruins a ton of lives. Everybody who's in a shutdown for months on end, their lives are ruined, period. There's no question about it. And people say, well, the government needs to bail them out more. Well, you can't, if you understand how money works, printing up money and, out of thin air, that's not backed by anything, that money, the worth of that money goes down. And chances are they're going to raise taxes to make you pay for it. Another thing I don't understand is in the bailouts in the United States, we had, I think in April or May, I have an essential job. I never lost work. I continued to make the same that I always made, and I'm blessed for that. But I didn't do anything, and yet the stimulus package appeared in my bank account, and I did nothing. I didn't ask for it. It just appeared. Now, I was able to use it, but I actually was looking around for people to help. And there, I could have used it, and I did. But the thing is, I didn't need it. But there were people that needed it that were having a very difficult time for whatever reason getting money. But the thing about it is I'm convinced that the money, the thing is, I'm convinced that the powers that be want to enslave people. They want people dependent on government, and I think this is what they're using to do that. So that's just some of my thoughts, and I hope people have some rational thoughts, especially in those areas in which people have been shut down and not been able to work for months and months and months on end. It's just destroying lives. It's destroying the economy. You might argue that it's saving some lives, but I think it's healthy to be outside and be in the sun. I've been taught that my whole life. So, I think we're heading towards the last days. I think this is being used to bring us towards the Antichrist system. And that's some of my thoughts. So thank you all and have a wonderful day.